It's pretty fun.
I don't like fun. This is
Well, then have I got a show for you. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Runeterrable Radio. I am your host, Blevins. With me, as always, is Saucy Mailman. What's up?
Hey, how's it going, dude?
It's going great. Despite Discord making us want to sound like 1920s radio announcers, we found a way.
Yeah, we were having some technical difficulties, so there's no our faces on video or for anyone who's live. But I think it worked out because I was having some visual technical difficulties. I was joking about this before the show when Blevins and I were hanging out. So I work for a company, and we've all been required to go back to the office for a while now. But now because there's a pandemic going on, we're required to wear masks in our own offices all day, even if there's no one around us or if our door's locked and no one can come in. So I have this beautiful mask line through my beard that just accentuates my voluptuous chin.
Yep.
It's so bad.
Yes, we can see your mask line. You need to wear a mask thong instead, so that we don't see your mask line anymore.
Yeah, which that's on the way. That's I ordered through a skeevy website that I don't think I can legally say.
Yes, it's called PlayRuneterra.com.
Yeah.
No, but we will be looking at PlayRuneterra.com for.
We will.
Sure, because we got a new patch and a new event. Oh my God, Saucy, this event.
We got an event. We got cool labs, gauntlet. What do we else we got? We got one. There's only I think one balance change. Nothing really changed this patch. Well, okay, I forgot. Yeah, Golden Narwhal. Golden Narwhal got changed.
Oh, so. That's right. That was the one that mattered. The Golden Narwhal change.
That's the one I've been calling for. I've been like, we need the Golden Narwhal change, please. Rito, please.
Yes, please. If we can have, if we could play Golden Narwhal, then that would be great. I would just love if I could play Golden Narwhal.
Exactly.
It's actually low key though. Golden Narwhal might actually be legit. I don't know. I mean, it's
interesting. It is an interesting one.
We'll certainly be talking about that in just a bit. But Saucy, we've had some Runeterra escapades since we last talked, at least on the ladders and whatnot. How's your week been in Runeterra?
So I have to say, and this is not a joke, the last week for me on ladders probably the most fun I've ever had in this game. I know there's been a lot of criticisms of the meta. Everyone who is a lot more competitive and cares about the rank a lot more than me has been upset about things with good reason. But I've discovered my new love of smooth soloist. And I've been playing a smooth soloist shipwreck hoarder combo deck that uses counterfeit copies to put lots of shipwreck hoarders in your deck. You make them cheap with smooth soloist. It's playing LoR of the Depths. So in any game where you're actually getting to play any of these, they're like 1 mana shipwreck hoarders, and you fill your entire deck in hand with treasures, and it is so fun. Yeah, I've had some of the most insane games I've ever played with that deck, and it's been crazy. There's been games where I just like play a treasure and just win on the spot because I get like atrocity and also just like giant dudes and just crazy stuff. So it's been the most fun I think I've had in this game this last week or so.
That is awesome. Yeah, it's people have been complaining a lot about the meta and diversity in the meta, and I mean, so many of you know that I keep a log, a spreadsheet actually that's available that you can actually copy for yourself at discord.me/Runeterrable Radio in the resources tab. I keep a track of every single ranked game I play in the season. So like I literally have a log of 302 games that I've played this season. So when people are saying, oh, the meta is so undiverse, I literally have, I mean, 300 games is not obviously a gigantic sample size if you look at the entirety of, the player base, but I mean, it's not nothing, right? 300 games.
I'd say that's a few.
Yeah, and like, yes, there are, I could look and see that I play, against a lot of Darius Draven and the Darrowing deck and a lot of Ash Noxus and whatnot, but like there's a lot more diversity than Reddit or Twitter might let you think. So I this season has been really up and down for me, but I finally found a groove with Braum elusives, actually, which as we'll talk about in this patch is that deck is probably done, at least in its previous form. But I ended up going from Diamond 3 is where I started, and I played it all the way to Masters, which ended up being like 70 games. So 60% win rate with it, which is, modest, I think. I think most people would be like, an 87% win rate to Masters. It's like, okay, dude. Well, did you keep track of all your games? Oh, great. Didn't think so.
Nope.
I doubt it. Or maybe you did. I don't know. But yeah, that deck really, I don't know what it was. I was actually talking about it on stream yesterday. I like the whole season I had done 5 games here and then switch decks, or like 3 games here, switch decks. One deck didn't like it, switched. I had a couple of 10-game runs and then had a loss streak and switched. And then for whatever reason, I just stuck with Braum elusives for 70 games. Ended up getting there, so that was awesome. Good.
I mean, showed you like the deck.
Yeah, and I think it had a lot of game to it, but it doesn't matter anymore because I think 4 or 5 cards in the deck got nerfed. So
that's a couple. That's a couple cards.
It's at least 1, 2. It's definitely 3. Is there a 4th one? There might be a 4th one. I don't remember. We'll talk about it in just a bit. But yeah, I mean, I think ladder. It's we don't need to go too deep into it because I think it's a recurring topic. But I think if you keep track of your games and actually look at what you're playing against and what you've played against and what you're playing, you'll have a much more nuanced opinion of what the air quotes meta actually looks like, rather than just reading it on Twitter and be like, it's nothing but Braum, Agnivia, and Darius Draven. It's like, well, what about this? What about this Garen Braum deck I played, or this Lux Braum deck I played, or this,
or the smooth soloist shipwreck warrior deck.
Exactly. I mean,
this is another thing. So if this is your first card game, or you're not super well versed in card games, so this cycle we're in at this exact moment happens in literally every single card game there is, and it's when there's new cards on the horizon and we know new stuff is coming. Everyone starts complaining about what we have. So it's like we want the new shiny stuff. So we're like, oh, everything sucks right now. I'm gonna quit until the new set. Blah blah blah. So it always happens.
Yeah, I had a copy pasta that I was throwing around in some Twitch chats. That is card in all caps is really strong right now, and banning card would make the format perfect. Remember old meta when card 2 was good? Man, those were great times, but current meta is the worst the game has ever been. Reddit. And that goes for every card game in every meta. And the funny thing is that people so fondly, I can't wait for people in 2 months to be like, man, remember when elusives was good? Remember when that was playable? Those were fun times. It's like, remember when remember when you could actually play Basilisk Rider? Everyone hated that. Remember when Harrowing was a finisher?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone hates what they're doing now. So the grass is always greener on the other side, both in the future and in the past. So it's just funny.
Exactly.
Funny how that works.
Man, I missed old spooky karma with crazy harrowing. That deck was sweet. When you just
Yeah.
revive all your opponent's gigantic stuff. It was so
Yeah,
good.
it was so good, man. I remember War Mother's Call being amazing. Remember when it was when Weirding Stones was 2 mana and we got to get a She Who Wanders. Oh man, those were great times.
Yep,
No,
exactly.
yeah, everyone remembers the old times fondly.
I do remember 2 mana Weirding Stones.
I
I
remember
miss
4
that. And
power Draven.
5/6 Avarosian Hearthguard.
Yep, and 4 power Draven. I miss
Oh my god. Could you imagine if Draven was a 4/3 right now?
him.
Be so
It's
stupid.
Draven time.
It is. Another thing I did before we get into the segment.
Mhm.
So we were compiling some numbers and doing some maths, and I found Lee Sin was by far my least played champion in the
Okay.
entire game.
Okay.
So last night I decided, you know what? We had Nola Gold on, and he had that cool Draven Lee Sin
Kickaxe.
deck, so I played
Yeah.
it. And leveling up Draven's really easy.
Yeah.
Like, I level them up all the time in that deck,
Mhm.
when you have support for it, because you're
Right.
keeping them alive and stuff. But yeah, Draven leveled up he's a monster. He does some stuff,
Yeah. And oh, by the way, he has overwhelm. People forget
which
that.
people still forget. It's great. Like, yeah, I'll block this Draven. I'm like, oh, all right, take 3.
Yeah, I think we've mostly seen Draven in like aggro shells, so it's like you don't really want to invest an extra card in the second axe. You just want to discard an axe to an axe to get the one attack, usually, or like axing them to kill them. But when
Yeah.
you're playing a deck that's more mid-range, like it's actually quite easy to level up Draven. But no one ever plays him like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That might change with some of these card changes that we'll be talking about.
Were there card changes?
There are a couple card changes. I did kind of want to talk about Twitch rivals, but I think so. I'll give my like quick thoughts on Twitch rivals, and if you have
Okay,
anything to add,
please do,
Saucy,
yeah.
I don't know if you watched
yeah.
it or not, but I think
I have huge things for it.
Oh, okay, good. So I think again, like when we talked about the first Twitch Rivals event, it is a net positive thing for the community in general to have a Twitch Rivals event. Is it the most competitive event out there? No. Were there a lot of good players in this event? Yes, absolutely there were. And I think a lot of new people saw Runeterra, and that's great. I think the only thing that left not even a sour taste in my mouth, but just like a kind of a meh feeling was that the Runeterra and also the TFT portion, for what it's worth, was just kind of like glossed over in terms of like how the actual tournament worked.
Yeah.
It's like you can do you can win both TFT and Runeterra and bomb in League, and it doesn't matter. You just lose. Like League was worth so many more points than both TFT and Runeterra. All the players and captains knew that, so they obviously drafted mostly League-focused teams. I thought it was really cool. I mean, we saw a bunch of people that we've had on the show and that we know in the event, which was really cool. And Hugs casted the NA side, which was really awesome. But yeah, I don't think and there's also still questions about the time limit and whatnot. Like it was still 50 minutes or whatever. But regardless, I think overall it was a good event. It's good for the community, but it's not an event that is catered for hardcore Runeterra players and fans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty much all I was going to say. I watched a little bit. You and I were watching some of the same games.
Yeah.
I was watching some of the stuff solely just because I like Hugs and was wanting to watch Hugs cast.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that it was, League of Legends overshadowed the entire thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't play League or have any interest in League.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't end up watching really any of it. I watched very little. I watched Casanova.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
Yeah, I think I've talked about, not on the show or anything, but just with other people through the course of me doing like gaming and esports stuff about like It always seems like a good idea to do like a triathlon or something. It's like, oh, what if we had like the Battle Royale triathlon where we play one game of Call of Duty Warzone, one game of Fortnite, and one game of PUBG, and like the winner takes it all. And it's like that's kind of an interesting thought in theory, kind of like this Twitch Rivals event is an interesting thought in theory, though I will give Riot more credit because it all ties together with the Spirit Blossom thing, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
But the whole triathlon thing, I think it is a cool attempt in theory, but it ends up like leaving it like mildly satisfies everyone, but fully satisfies 0 people is what it does.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like,
it's so interesting because, like, on paper, you'd be like, "Okay, we have these 3 different games with different audiences, like,
Mhm.
so we'll get all the people to watch from all of these," but then, like, in practice, it's more like, well, you know, TFT guys aren't gonna watch the
Right.
other stuff,
Everyone
and
got a
yeah,
third
so
of a tournament.
yeah, so it's interesting. I loved the idea. I thought it
Yeah.
was really cool, and, props to Riot for putting together something like that. It's
Mhm.
just it's tough. I think it's really hard to make that work.
I think that because of the Spirit Blossom event and because we're getting that in League, TFT, and in Runeterra, I think it made a lot of sense for that. So I definitely like that. And again, look at these Twitch Rivals events for any game as promotional events and think about them as that. This is not the World Championships. This is not
Yeah.
a strictly competitive grind of top pro players. Sometimes there are pro players in these events, as we saw,
Yeah.
but it's not always that. And that's not what it's for. It's for promotion. It's for the streamers. It's for the community. It's for getting new eyes on the community in an accessible way. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's for fun.
Yeah, exactly. So overall, I don't think there's much more to go into it. I think it's good. I hope that there's more LOR Twitch Rivals events, and I think this one, the only thing that didn't really go off super well about LOR was Twitch chat did not care for the EU casters of LOR because
No, they did not.
they were not LOR fluent is what I would say.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, so that's the only thing I would say. I think NA went by her really well, and everything else was quite good. So with that, Saucy, let's get in to the meat and taters of this
Yeah.
episode. Spirit Blossom, July 22nd through August 19th. We have got an event and a brand new patch in 1.6. So we'll get into that, and I will read off the dev notes for balance in this patch. So this is from Ruben Zoo, live design lead for LOR. When designing and balancing LOR, we strive to set players up to dictate the meta by giving them a variety of tools to adapt and solve novel challenges. While we're seeing a healthy range and diversity of different decks being played, certain pervasive archetypes like Elusives, Ionia Control, Heimerdinger, Noxus Base Aggro have proven too consistently powerful in a way that's limiting meaningful decision making both in and out of game. Left unchecked, this restricts deck building choices, crowding out poorly positioned strategies, and inhibiting players' abilities to adapt over time. Several of the changes you'll see below are targeted at powering down these archetypes in specific ways. While we generally reserve nerfs for decks that cross win rate thresholds, this patch we're making adjustments to cards and strategies that may not be statistically overpowered, but represent pervasive health risks. By weakening them, we hope to unlock a wider range of consistently viable archetypes. In a similar vein, this patch also includes tweaks to several discard units aimed at increasing their satisfaction and usability and providing more varied foundation for the archetype. Let us know what you think. Okay, so long story short, they're nerfing a bunch of stuff. It's not all because of overarching win rate. It is for other reasons as well. So, let's just start up at the top, Saucy. Heimerdinger. Tell us what
Yeah,
happened with
he
the
got
donger.
he got a bit of a rework. So
Yeah.
I will start this discussion off with, if you have not seen them, go look at all the patch notes themselves,
Mm-hmm.
because we're not going to get into all the
Yeah.
specifics because there's a lot. So just
There's a
play
lot.
runeterrable.com, look at the patch. But they basically, what they did was they reworked how his turrets work with mana cost. And the big
Mm-hmm.
one is the elusive turret is now the 6 mana turret
Yep.
instead of the 3 mana turret. And he's a 6/1 elusive for 6 mana.
Mm-hmm.
This is great because now Flash of
Yep.
Brilliance doesn't kill you.
Mm-hmm.
I played a game where they literally put 12 power of elusive threats on the board in one turn
Yep.
on turn 5 and killed
Mm-hmm.
me, and that feels bad. So
Yep.
yeah. So they reworked it. Now the 3 mana turret is the Fierce of One, and they made the 4 mana turret the Overwhelm turret.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this I mean, it really changes Heimerdinger's play style, right?
Yeah.
Um Elusive, clearly the best one for the mana, like the best bang for your buck. Obviously, you want, a
Especially early
TX.
on, like elusives are stronger early on.
Right. Yeah, and with Flash of Brilliance, which we can actually just talk about in a second here. Flash of Brilliance, just the ability to cast multiple 3-cost spells at burst speed in succession on the same turn to create 3, 6, 9, 12 plus power of units uninteractable and essentially or effectively for free was just, it made Heimerdinger so feast or famine because now with the three cost being fearsome, which is kind of like, it's bad elusive, right? Like it's elusive if unless you have 3 power units or better. So the ability to create value from that, Heimerdinger is still going to be good.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, well, I have this, like, drawing 3 of the same card, I guess, is kind of like not an anomaly, but it's not likely to happen, at least, by turn 5. But it shouldn't be like an auto win, I don't think.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
now it's just,
Yeah, it's a very it's an interesting rework, and I think I can't think of the word for it. It just lost out of my brain. But it's good because like he still gets played in decks that are generating value and using him as a value engine. Because that's
yeah,
what he originally was. Like
right.
when we first played this card, we're playing it because he gives you followers for the spells you're playing. So all
Mm-hmm.
your spells create the blockers or attackers,
Yep.
like he's giving you value. And then he turned into, I'm playing him because he makes elusives. Like
Right.
that's literally what
Yeah.
Heimerdinger
All I
became.
care
He
about are the
became the elusive
3-cost ones.
engine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good because it makes him, decks that still want that value engine still play him, and now he's not just rolling you over with low costed free elusives.
Yep. I think Heimer will still be good. He'll be good in a different type of deck, and because of Flash of Brilliance, which was changed and now costs 4 instead of 3, he now also is not going to have those nut draws where it's just like, oh, I got a bunch of stuff for free. Even if you have multiple Flashes of Brilliance, it's still going to effectively cost you 1 mana because it costs 4 mana and then you refill 3, so it still costs you 1 mana, and you're getting Overwhelm units, which, again, if you have 3 Flash of Brilliances, you're paying effectively 3 mana for 3 4/1 overwhelms. That's still really good, but it's not,
Yeah.
well, guess I die even though I have a board right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if anyone who's played card games before knows that mana cheat and things that are free end up being broken at some point, and
Mm-hmm.
Flash of Brilliance ends up being a free card in the decks that play it.
Yep. So now, I think Flash of Brilliance, because it is, like you said, effectively free. Now it kind of costs 1 mana, but it's still like it's giving you a free spell. It's burst speed. There's so much about it that like rang ill when
exactly.
when paired with Heimerdinger. So
Yep.
overall, really good change. I don't know. I have not heard anyone complaining about this. Here's the thing: a 6/1 elusive is still strong, right? It's just
Yeah.
it's just going to come in the game later when it makes sense that game-ending threats are going to be presented. And also, if you can have 12 mana with spell mana, so you can get 2 in one turn for sure, but that means you cast 2 6-cost spells and you're at earliest turn 9 to do that.
Yeah.
So, and also, it's still a 6/1, so you can deal with it pretty easily. It's not like the 3/1s, like, yes, you can deal with them with Withering Wail or whatever, but like it's just so easy to get more after the first, effect. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and it kind of like as the developer notes was saying at the start, it leads, even if it's not the most oppressive thing to happen, it leads to a lot of really feel bad moments when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I like it. I and it was funny because when we were playing last night, someone's like, uh do you think Heimer needs a nerf or whatever? And I was like, and this is literally the game where the dude put 12 power worth of stats on turn 5 and they're all elusive. I'm like, yep, that's why he needs a nerf.
Yep.
Like, he played 3 Flash of Brilliance and then the twin discipline. So I was like,
Jeez.
with nothing on the board. And I'm like, I guess I die now. That was
Yep.
cool.
Yeah, that actually happened in Fight Night number 2. Winding God had the Heimer and went flash, 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 twin disciplines and killed on like I think it was turn 5 or maybe turn 6.
Yeah.
Insane.
I was like, which is fun.
Which like is, and the fact that it's just so uninteractable is, I think, what really goes against the grain of what Runeterra is all about. But we move on and we talk about Braum, who had his time in the sun for 2 weeks. Braum not getting bumped quite back down to what he was, but he's still a 4-mana 0, or he's still a 4-mana champion, but now he's going back down to 0 power on the front end. Still generates the Mighty Poro the first time he takes damage, and leveled up Braum is the same as it was before, except it's a 1/6 instead of a 2/6. So just took 1 power away from Braum. I mean, I think he's still going to be decent at least, but this does take a lot of wind out of his sails.
Yeah. I think he's still better than old Braum was, just because you get that value originally. The problem with him before was he was also removal because he had that 1 power, so he could kill the Glenglade Dews and all that stuff. So yeah, it makes him considerably weaker, but still, I don't think he's completely unplayable.
Right. Yeah, I think it's just going to take a little bit more work to make him that like good.
Yeah, and I think that goes more along the philosophy of the game, where they don't want the champions that are just auto-include in every deck for no reason. Now he's going back to, he is more build around. You want to play him with the take hearts and stuff like that. Where before you're just like, oh, I'm playing Braum because he's damn good.
Yeah. I think this will severely lower his ability and his value in a deck like Bald Eagle or Agnivia, because like you don't have any way to really interact with him. He's just going to be a 0/5, which is again, it's all right against aggro, but like the fact that you're not doing that 1 damage is pretty huge.
Yeah. Yep. And also, like, leveled up, a 2 attack is so much more than 1 attack. So Braum is way more manageable if you're the opponent at 1/6.
Yeah, and having played Braum in that Braum Elusives deck so much, like, and because that deck was really a deck that could pump him up easily. I mean, it was with Omen Hawks. I was playing Bring Me Tea to gain the strength of rivers. That guy.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
The old man.
Inspiring Mentor. That's who he is. It's playing him. So like, even like matchup to matchup, like it was like, okay, do I need a 2-power Braum? Yes, I do actually. In this matchup, a 2-power Braum is way better than a 1-power. Or like I can get a 3-power Braum, or like I need a 4-power Zed or something. Like matchup to matchup, it actually makes a difference. So you never want a 0-power Braum if you can avoid it. So I think like specifically the Shadow Isles versions with Braum, and like even like the like Braum Swain. That was just like we're playing Braum as like a mid game engine and like a board controller. He's gonna get significantly worse in that in that instance, because I mean, yes, you can hit him from Omen Hawk, but you can hit old Braum from Omen Hawk as well, and it just wasn't
Exactly.
worth running.
Yep, exactly.
So,
Big agree.
yeah, another Freljord card being nerfed, and this is the last of the champion changes. Well, direct champion card changes, I guess. Is Agnivia is going from 2 health down to 1. Vile Feasts rejoice as an egg is now on the menu.
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. Nivea's proven to be pretty. She can be pretty oppressive at times.
Mm-hmm.
It I it's interesting just because is Anivia now the most changed champion? I'm trying to think because she's been changed quite a bit.
She's been changed a lot. I'm trying to
She's
think.
hard to balance. Like
Really
champions
hard
that
to
have
balance,
natural
yeah.
recursion like that are tough. And so yeah, this makes the like the especially the like Miss Call versions that are trying to get a whole bunch out
Yep.
more difficult because the eggs are way more manageable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being able to hit like to actually play Withering Wail or Vile Feast or what have you. I mean, there's just so many. There's so many more 1 damage effects across different different regions, and you're not like priced into playing something like P and Z to be able to Thermo Beam or Mystic Shot or what have you to deal with the egg. Like that's the like Anivia is I mean, her stats are kind of inefficient for how much she is, I guess. But like, she has a really good effect, and she naturally recurs. The counterplay to that is like, you need to kill her twice, like before turn 10, and it's like, yeah, you can, but there's already so much to deal with that and to prevent that, and like Rekindler doesn't care even if you do kill the egg. So now like, you know, you have the opportunity to maybe keep them from having 5 Anivias out instead of, you know, maybe they'll only have 4 or 3 Anivias instead of 5.
Yeah, exactly. It is, yeah. It's a pretty. I mean, I don't think it like makes her unplayable. Again, it does just lower her a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Makes you think about. Makes you have to use your brain when you're playing Anivia.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, and I'm wondering this about Braum too. I've seen I've seen this in, well, not really Magic because they don't nerf cards, but like in Hearthstone, in even in TFT, like the community tends to take buffs and nerfs like further than maybe they should go. Where it's like, oh, this card got buffed, therefore it must be good, so I'm going to play it, and then it gets really good. Or like you actually find out that it was good the whole time. Like, was 7 cost Anivia really so bad that it was never played, and 6 cost Anivia is all of a sudden one of the best decks in the format?
Yeah, no, not at all. And
like,
I mean,
yeah,
I was playing a lot of Anivia when
right.
people were saying it was super
Cagnivia,
unplayable. Yeah, I was playing Cagnivia and just War Mothers. Like,
yeah.
I'm like Anivia's still like a lot of times a board clear on her own. She's
Mm-hmm.
not horrible, but like you said, yeah, people take buffs and nerfs as law. Like, oh, this card got nerfed. No matter what the change is, it's totally unplayable now.
Right. Yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see much less Anivia and much less Braum, even if their power levels would lead us to believe that they actually should see more play. But we'll see.
We shall see.
Yeah. Next up, we've got Relentless Pursuit. And this change is it's going from fast speed down to slow. Really, not a huge change. I think there are definitely situations where it was correct and good to play it at fast speed, but I feel like I saw those rarely. Like for the most part, most of the time it was played at slow speed anyway.
Yeah, and they explained the reasoning is like they want Rally itself to be a slow speed effect. That's why like they like to put it on followers. You know, like the
Citrus
Orange
Courier.
Man.
Yep.
Yeah, and stuff like that. So they're like, yeah, they actually said they wanted to make this change for a while, and so they decided to just make it slow speed.
Yep.
And so yeah, and same for Lucian's Relentless Pursuit as well, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine. Like, I don't think that this is going to change the power level of the card whatsoever. I mean, there are times where it made sense to play it during combat because it effectively takes away one additional action from your opponent to play a blocker, but they talked about that. That's part of the reason they wanted to nerf it, is like, well, we like Relentless Pursuit as kind of a gotcha in a sense, but not like a gotcha. And oh, by the way, you now have one chance to respond. It's like attacks. Okay, I'm going to play something post combat. They play this. Okay, I actually have another thing I can play to protect myself. But I think in the majority of cases, it's not going to matter that this got changed.
Yeah, exactly.
But something that I think is absolutely going to matter got changed is Arena Bookie.
Yeah.
Going from a 3 cost down to a 2 cost, and is actually getting a health buff as well. Going from a 3 mana 2/1 to a 2 mana 2/2. That's insane. And this card,
it's a big change.
If you forgot what this card did or didn't know what it did in the first place, this is a Noxus follower. It says at the start of round, discard your lowest cost card to draw 1. This is a card, Saucy, that I always wanted to get into decks, but it was just so awkward. It costs 3, and it's like, would I ever play this over a Draven? And like, come on, like, am I ever doing that? It's like so clunky. And like, oh, also Vile Feast exists, Static Shock, all the 1 damage things. Like, it just dies to everything. Now it's like, it costs 2 and it got a health increase. I see a lot of Arena Bookies in our future, Saucy.
Yeah, it's really sick. This is a card that, both you and I, we were trying to make work for a while with Draven and other things. It was right when Draven got nerfed. We're like, all right, how can we make Draven good? And it's just, I mean, it's so sick when you discard a 0 cost spell to draw a card. And we'll see, like, a discard itself as an archetype got some other buffs and improvements.
Yeah.
And it's now just a good card. Like, it passes, like, the stats are decent and its effect is quite strong, so I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you discard axes, you can discard puff cap spells if you want to play, if you want to play your wumps. You just discard your low ends. I mean, obviously you discard your put directly into play cards as well. Like, it's just a good, I mean, if you played Magic at all, you know how good, I mean, this is technically a rummage, not a loot, but like that effect is very, very good, especially when you can manipulate it and you're generating free cards in your hand with axes from Draven and puff caps and all that. And also you have discard matter spells. You have stuff like Jinx where you want to empty your hand. And again, if you're unfamiliar with it, if you have 1 card in hand with this, and this goes off, when the discard happens, in between the discard and the draw, Jinx will level up. It sees that you had no cards in your hand and will level up. So it's really strong in that sense as well. So, I mean, like you said, Saucy, passes the vanilla test, has a really quite good ability. I think that this card, alongside a couple others, which we'll talk about in a second, really opens up that, like, mid-range discard themed archetype up a lot, actually.
Yeah. And something else is they talked about, since we're gonna see a couple other Noxus units that got nerfed, they wanted to buff one, which is I think totally reasonable.
Oh, you know what this also does, Saucy? This gives you a discard, but you know what it also gives you? A draw for Twisted Fate.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I like it.
Let the brewing begin.
Let's all brew.
Let us brew together.
And we can, for our slot bots, this is going to be great.
Oh, that's right. Ooh, I'm getting excited. And I'm gonna be playing Get Excited. Although in that deck I wouldn't be able to because that would be 3. Never mind. Okay, Basilisk. Well, let's talk about all 3 of these cards: Basilisk Rider, Crimson Disciple, and Legion Grenadier, all getting touched here. Basilisk Rider getting 1 less power. Crimson Disciple now, instead of doing 2 damage with its ability, is only doing 1, and same with Legion Grenadier, only doing 1 when it dies. So pretty big nerfs to the core of a lot of Noxus aggro-based strategies.
Yeah. I mean, Crimson Disciple's been regarded as one of the strongest, if not the strongest, 2-drop in the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
It's so damn strong. I mean, I had a game where I think all but 2 damage I did to the enemy Nexus was through a Crimson Disciple, through 1 Crimson Disciple,
Wow.
mind you, 1 Disciple, and I won that game. I just kept healing it up and giving it. I had
Mm-hmm.
but take heart on it and all this crap.
Wow.
And yeah, it was really dumb. I'm like, let me prove to you how stupid this card is.
Yeah.
And the same with the Grenadier. Like, he makes combat math just a damn nightmare.
Yep.
You're like, blocking him doesn't, like, killing him doesn't do anything. Do note though, the Grenadier now he does only 1 damage to the enemy Nexus, but they did give him 1 more health, so now he's a 3/2.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yep. So
Oh, yeah.
they gave him a little more health.
Okay.
So now he's a minion.
He's reasonable.
Yep.
He's been upgraded to exactly kind of meh.
Yeah,
But still fine.
I'd rather the units have more stats and do less direct damage, because direct damage, it's really difficult in this game, especially because when a lot of the effects are at burst speed, like transfusion
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. Like, that feels so bad when you lose to a transfusion on a disciple,
Yep.
like 30 games in a row.
Yeah, it does. When, like, again, their stated goal is like, we want your decisions and interactivity in the game to matter. And you literally can't. Now, I'm fine with some of that, warning shot, etc. That type of effect, I think, is fine to have. And some, I'm also fine with pump spells being burst speed as well, because we know if it's not burst speed, it's just not playable. So I don't want to see something like Fury of the North go to like a fast speed, because the card just
or like take heart or something.
Right, just completely unplayable at that point.
Yep. Agreed.
So
yeah, I mean, this is good. Now I think I like. I mean, I talk about this every time, but I'm just gonna re-say it again.
Mhm.
I don't like the zero thought deck building decks where you just put all of these effects in a deck and hit play. So now you actually think about things. I think Crimson's Disciples a lot. I mean, I think it's still a good card, and I think it's a lot more manageable and reasonable now, because she was just so stupid. The card was just so dumb before.
Yeah, it just like it really just made it, and the fact that her ability did the same amount of damage as her attack just made it like, it just made blocking a nightmare. It's like, well, I guess, like, do I block? I guess I do. And then it's like they heal, and it's like, well, I guess I don't even know. It's like,
was it good? I lost my unit, but like, is this a good trade?
Right. Which, I mean, I'm fine with cards being strong. It's just like, it needs to be a little, I don't know. It's tough, but I think this definitely, I mean, it makes her way worse, obviously, but I think this like tones down aggro strategies, like, to a point where it's like, okay, you can play, there are other options now. It's like, oh, playing an aggro Noxus deck, okay, 3 Crimson Disciple, 3 bombers, or the other one, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
the other one.
The bomber.
The bomber girl. That's who it is. Tank girl. Now it's like, okay, maybe I'll play something like Legion Grenadier. Although I kind of, well, Grenadier was just, it was annoying because of the reason that you said, Saucy. It's like the last breath happens instantaneously. It's not a skill. It just happens. In 1 health, like, it's just easy to manipulate that to kill your own guy. So, like, it's like, yeah, you have a Legion Grenadier and a transfusion. You're doing 4 uninterruptible, just that damage is going to happen no matter what.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it's I think overall it's good. It's obviously going to nerf the power level of those aggro decks, which, I mean, again, people hate aggro decks, but I'm telling you, just be careful what you wish for when you're saying you don't want aggro to be in the format, because
Yeah.
aggro weeds out a lot of degenerate stuff that might be just take a little bit too long to get online, but man, it can be bad. So I'm just saying, be careful what y'all wish for when you're saying we don't want aggro in the game or we hate all these aggro strategies. So just
Exactly, and I do think the deck was a little too overtuned and just a
yeah,
little too fast. So I think that aggro is still gonna be fine. People, I mean, anytime anything changes, it's the end of the world, right? But I
right.
think there's still plenty of viable aggro options, including maybe a whole discard package. Now we could maybe see some discard
Yes.
aggro.
Yes. I'm still, I think, of the opinion that the discard strategy is better suited in like more of a mid-range deck that can
Hmm.
be aggressive, not like a burn deck. But
Yeah.
we'll see that. But yes, great segue as we talk about Sump Dredger and Zonite Urchin. So Sump Dredger is going from a 2 cost up to a 3 cost, so technically a nerf there. But now instead of to play me discard 1, it is to play me discard 1 and draw 1. So you're effectively paying 1 more mana to draw a card to play this card.
Yeah,
Which
it's really cool.
yeah, one mana to draw a card, usually pretty good. Now, Sump Dredger saw virtually 0 play, so I don't have a ton of hope for it. But I also said that about Basilisk Rider, the patch when it got buffed, so I apparently know nothing.
Yeah,
And
I would agree with
yeah,
that statement.
exactly. And Zonite Urchin now instead of okay, so they changed Zonite Urchin entirely. Okay, so Zonite Urchin's old text was last breath, draw a card to play me, discard 1. Now it's just to play me, discard 1, and draw 1. So you're just
Yeah.
getting that draw immediately instead of having the Zonite Urchin needing to die.
Yeah, and I think these are both pretty big changes.
Yeah.
I think it's actually like I think Zona Urchin might actually be very, very strong right now.
Yes.
Just thinking, in Magic, discarding a card to draw a card is so powerful. And in this game, like we don't have as many ways to draw cards as it is.
Right.
So it is a nerf. So it is it's a
It's a
pseudo
burf.
nerf to all of your cards that make 1 mana, as like the jailbreak and all of that crap. So,
Right.
because those, when you got one of these, you just get a free draw. But,
Right.
yeah, because you get to control this effect. So anything that seemed
Mm-hmm.
like a quote unquote bad effect, but you control it, is always a good thing. Like effects where it's like both players sacrifice a unit or things like
Yeah.
that are always good for the person who plays it. So discarding a card to then draw a card is very good. You get
Mm-hmm.
you're filtering your hand. You can be like, oh yeah, this card doesn't do anything in this matchup. Let me discard it and get something relative. So
Yeah.
I think it's very good.
It's half a rummage on a
Yep.
2-1, which is perfectly fine. Like, I think that's, again, I think it's really going to, like, it ups the core of what the, like, Jinx based discard decks are. And again, I think, this makes me think of Casino with, like Jinx, Twisted Fate, because yeah, you're discarding, but you're also drawing here. So,
Yep.
I think that gets a nod. The old style like Jinx, Draven, like mid range beatdown decks, I think also, with the sort of taming of hyper aggro and also the buffing of some of these cards, I think a strategy like that may have a time to shine as well. So lot of good changes coming in. We might see a very, very different meta here.
Mhm.
But speaking of different metas, we move into what I think is the most changed region here. Maybe Noxus was. No, I think Ionia is.
Ionia, yeah.
A lot of changes here. And we start with Shadow Assassin going from a 2/2 down to a 1/2. We're now paying 3 mana for Squire, Saucy.
Yeah. Uh, it. I mean, I get it because she is one of those cards. Every deck I ever play that has Ionia has 3 of these.
Yeah.
You just put them in because it's so good. 3 mana for a 2/1 elusive, draw a card, or 2/2, so good.
Mhm.
So I mean, they're trying to make it to where aggressive, elusive minions aren't as prevalent.
Right.
She can still be played in decks that want to use her on defense, so she's still totally fine. Yeah, I mean, how many times has this card been changed? Is this the second time?
I don't think that this one was changed before. Now you're making me second guess it. The conspirator was, or the two mana bounce a guy was changed before, and the 3 mana bounce all your guys was changed before. Was Shadow Assassin different before? Maybe she was. Oh, did she used to cost 4 mana? You might be right. Oh God, I don't even remember that.
I thought she was something else, but I don't.
She might have been. It's I don't know. I don't remember. Very well
anymore.
She may have been 4 mana. Now that I think about it, I don't remember. But you know, at 1/2, 3 mana 1/2, I think that this really does lower the ability to play her in like aggressive decks. It makes me much well. The good thing is that now at the 3-drop spot, all of a sudden the solitary monk starts to look a little bit better compared to this. It's like, I had to bounce all my guys and I only get +1/+1 and I don't draw a card. I think I'm just going to take all the positives from Shadow Assassin. Now it's like, okay, a 1/2 is not threatening whatsoever. No. So now it's like, do I want to run this in like an aggressive deck or like a Kinku elusives based deck, or do I want to run like anything else? You know?
Yeah, exactly. So I think she's still playable in like slow decks. I think that's fine. But you might not be playing this anymore in aggro.
Yeah, I feel like it certainly opens up the conversation to go if you're playing an elusives base, like more aggro or like not necessarily hyper aggro, but like closer. It opens up the possibility of playing Bilgewater instead and playing Zap Sprayfin and another card that we're going to talk about in a second in Bilgewater. But yeah, I mean, obviously way worse for Shadow Assassin, but like Shadow Assassin is one of those cards that was never oppressive, but it was everywhere. It was just like such a good value card.
Like I don't think I ever made an like Ionia deck that didn't have 3 copies.
Yeah. So I like the change kind of, even though I was literally using this card specifically not 24 hours ago a lot. But it's not that it was super powerful. It just closed off the options, which I think is a bad thing overall, even though I like playing this card. We move on to Steel Tempest. Yasuo getting some buffage here. Steel Tempest now, which is Yasuo's spell, stun an attacking enemy, in case you forgot what that card did, is now 2 cost instead of 3. This is also kind of pretty big, Saucy. I think we might actually see this card a lot.
Yeah, it's good. One, it's a card that I always screw up because I don't play these type of decks very often, and I forget it's an attacking enemy.
Yep.
I'm always like, just stun an enemy. But it 2 mana to stun at fast speed, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, when it was 3, it always felt weird because you have Frostbite at 3, and that's like not strictly better, but it's better a lot of the time because you can Frostbite anything. And also you can Frostbite when they block and you kill their guy instead of just removing them from combat. So like Frostbite just felt way better. And now the effect is still better, but it costs 1 more mana. So that's a big thing.
Yeah. And also, like, it just felt worse than playing like Concussive Palm because, like, I'll pay 1 mana to get 3/2 dude as well. So now this at 2, it's looking pretty tasty.
Yeah, I mean, Karma Ezreal already had a lot of ways to stall the board, and now it's got an even cheaper way to do it. And we don't even need to hear the Heimer players complaining about how it doesn't cost 3 anymore. Because it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter. It would have been funny if they...
That was an annoying meme.
Yep. where actually Pilfered Goods is better now because it costs 3.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, already kind of saw a little bit of resurgence of Yasuo, so I think that this will certainly put it as a contender. The other cards in that archetype have gotten shifted, which we'll talk about in a second. But River Shaper is another Ionia card here, going up from a 2/1 up to a 2/2. This seems like a slow quality of life type of change that they've been making to cards over the past several patches, where it's like these either I survive damage or strike cards like this are like, yeah, now River Shaper's actually going to get to hit more than once. Like if they have an Omen Hawk, you can actually attack into it now.
Exactly. I mean, River Shaper, God, this is a card. This was actually one of my favorite cards in I think it was a second closed beta. Playing it in I was playing it in a more slower, like more slower and slower decks.
Yeah.
Because drawing spells specifically is, if you're tutoring for that is good and it's on strike. But yeah, if you can get this effect twice off the card, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Again, it specifically says draw, so Twisted Fate and Slotbot very happy.
Oh. Yeah, I think this is great. I think this card could actually be playable.
I mean, again, this is like a direct sort of corollary to Shadow Assassin. Like, is this card as good as Shadow Assassin was? No, even as it's buffed. But it now is at a power level that is similar, if not definitely better than what Shadow Assassin is now, and has a higher upside. Like, these are the type of cards where it's like, at a base, it's probably weaker than, card A, but its potential is stronger. So then it's like if you had a bunch of those, it's like, okay, well, I'm playing a scenario where card C is actually going to be really good. I'm going to be seeing the high end of card C or the high end of card B, or like card B would never work in my deck, but card D is insane. But what actually happened and with Shadow Assassin is it's card A and it's like a 7 out of 10 at all times, where like even if a card can be an 8 out of a 10 or a 4 out of a 10, it's like I'm just going to play the 7 out of 10 every time. So
yeah, and so I actually remember what this was being played in a lot was the Shin Fiora deck.
Yep.
Because you were trying to draw specifically all your barriers for Fiora, or your One of Judgment. But we could potentially see if the meta changes enough, we could see that deck come back. We've seen Shin a little bit now.
Yeah.
Fiora hasn't seen hardly any play ever since people started playing Scouts, but
Yeah.
maybe I mean Fiora's cool, and this works in that deck really well.
Yeah, it's almost like you're fine using effectively a barrier to draw a card with this card because it's going to replace itself with a barrier most likely.
Yep.
So you're certainly fine doing that. Obviously, the judgment synergy is there as well, and yeah, I mean, it can certainly make its way into a Fiora shell. It could also, I do think it's possible we see something like a Twisted Fate Ionia. We saw a little bit of that, like Twisted Fate Karma at the beginning of Rising Tides with the Klepto package, but it kind of fell out of favor after a while. We can maybe see it, so that'd be interesting. But Saucy, the last card in Ionia being changed is our good friend Sir William of Ionia, who is now 5 mana instead of 4. Huge nerf. Big
and everyone was surprised, right?
One of the most pervasive cards in Legends of Runeterra. It's just the catch-all to everything. It's so good, especially in a game like LoR. It just answers everything. It gives you tempo. It's just so good. It needed to be 5 for a while.
Yeah, I agree. Card's just too strong. I mean, I had a game last night playing Lee Sin where my opponent nabbed all 3 of my wills. So
Oof.
they were a talented opponent. But yeah, it at 4 mana, it's too good. It's too good.
Yeah. I wish I would have made it 6 so that we could make an elusive turret.
Oh my god, I've got to leave. I suddenly have to go do something.
Yeah, I think Will of Ionia. Here's the thing. I really, really liked Will of Ionia because it's one of those cards that just so directly allows you to flex your skill on your opponent and like punish their greed. But in the same vein, it also like kept things so oppressive. Like Will of Ionia is a sole, well, not the sole reason, but like a very compelling reason to never see Unyielding Spirit played ever.
Yeah.
And for what it's worth, Will of Ionia still going to be played. It's just not going to be an auto 3 of or like at minimum 2 of. It's like maybe a 2 of, maybe a 1 of in some controlling decks. It's still going to be good.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, it's still a good card. That effect is super strong.
Yeah.
It's just not as ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, last 2 cards on the list go hand in hand. We've got Golden Narwhal and Hunting Fleet. Golden Narwhal is going down to a 2 cost, and its health is being reduced down to 3, so it's now a 2 mana 2/3 instead of a 3 mana 2/4. And Hunting Fleet is going from a 5 mana 7/7 down to a 4 mana 6/6.
Yeah,
these are both pretty huge, I think, just buffs in general. Like,
yeah,
you didn't care that much about that extra 1 health for Golden Narwhal. And it's like, if you think about it in the inverse, like, would I pay 1 mana to give it +0/+1? No, I would never do that. So would I shave off a mana to give it plus or -0 -1? Yes. I would love a 1 mana 2/2 elusive
2/3.
Or, well, yeah, if I shaved an additional off, it would be, yeah. So
yeah, and Hunting Fleet's interesting, like a 4 mana 6/6. That's interesting, right? That might be something I want to play.
It's close for sure. 5 mana, it's just like, I mean, 5 mana is such a powerhouse cost. There's so many good things, and like, yes, 7/7 is big, but like, even compared to like Garen or Gangplank, it's like, it's got +2/+2. It gives your opponent an elusive unit. It already gets blocked immediately the first time. Like, yes, you get to Challenger the Narwhal away, but it just felt like a lot of work to go through for just a 7/7 for 5 mana. Yeah. Now it's like, for 4 mana, it's closer.
Hear me out now. Now, this is not, I'm not known to suggest this for every single card change, am I? Hear me out. This is the deck. This is the deck. Listen here, everyone. You heard it first. Callista Hunting Fleet. Because it summons the vulnerable, dude, and you can challenge that with Callista.
Ooh.
So then you just have a 6/6 they got to do, because they always block Callista to kill the stupid thing that you're trying to attack with.
That's true.
It's a 4 mana 6/6. It's pretty cool.
Wait, but can you... Callista has to be declared entirely as an attacker first, so you can't challenge the Narwhal that it creates, right?
Sure, I don't know.
We'll test it out. We'll
I'm let you know. Over here in theory crafting.
I like it. Bilgewater, Shadow Isles, Hunting Fleet, Callista. You heard it here. First.
Really, I just put Callista with every card that gets changed.
You do.
I was like, Callista, Captain Farron. Let's go. Ooh, Callista, River Shaper.
Ooh,
doesn't work.
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough to get, but yeah, I'm wondering. I was expecting you to say Teemo Golden Narwhal elusives, but
I mean, yeah, obviously. Well, I've been trying to think of other ways to just make like weird elusive decks with him. This could be the one. We do have some decent elusives in Bilgewater.
I mean, yeah, you have Fizz, who's like pseudo elusive. You have the Golden Narwhal now. You've got Zap Sprayfin. You've got the 5 mana 4/4. Yeah, Slippery Dude. You've got Bubble Bear. I mean, come on.
Soloist.
You've got Smooth Soloist. I think you might be onto something, Saucy.
Yeah. Bilgewater elusives featuring Teemo.
Yeah, you don't even need Ionia. That's old. That's broke. Bilgewater
all
PNZ
the Ionia elusives. All the Ionia elusives keep getting nerfed. No one's touching the 2/3 elusive from PNZ.
Yeah. It's true.
What is it, the Aeronaut or something?
Yeah. Also, no one's touching Batman, the 5-mana, what is it, 4/3 challenger? Is that what he I forget what he's from.
Sure.
You know, that one that you've seen if you've played Expeditions that looks like
Yeah.
Batman?
Yep. What is his dumb name? He's the challenger.
Something like it's got like a weird name that's not like an English name that I don't remember.
Yeah, he's one of those named cards that's not a champion.
Yeah.
It'll come to me.
Now I'm gonna
Tomorrow.
I wanna find it. But yeah, I do think that there is likely nope, didn't come up when I typed in 5-mana 4/3 elusive, so it's gone now. I tried.
It's just sorry.
Oh, Yasari. Okay, we got there.
Batman.
Yes, aka Batman. That's
Submersible.
Ooh, now we're talking.
Yep.
Now, PNZ Bilgewater elusives might be the future, especially since
and Abyssal Eye.
I'm officially sold now. Actually, we need to delete this episode because I don't want this to get out. I gotta hit number 1 on the rank.
Sorry we had no pod. So if you're just tuning in, sorry we had no podcast.
Yeah, no podcast, nothing to listen to here. Don't go back and listen. That's didn't happen for sure. Yep, nope, no.
Sorry we had no podcast this week.
No perfect deck epiphanies that happened on stream. Nope, didn't happen. Nope, not here. Definitely not here.
I think there's enough to actually do an entire deck with just elusive minions. You also have Daring Poro and Prowling Cutthroat.
Wow. Wait, is there enough to make it Vanya? No, I'm not going to do. Wait, you have Daring Cutthroat, Elusive Poro, and Teemo, and Fizz. Is this a Von Yip deck?
Absolutely. So if you're playing Von Yip, you're legally required to play Sumpork's map so you can give him elusive.
Oh boy. Oh boy. We have stumbled across the greatest deck of all time. But before we go saucy, I want to talk about this just in general, the Spirit Blossom Festival, the board, the event pass. What are you thinking about it just in general? What are your initial thoughts on it?
I think it's super cool. I haven't got a chance to play the labs, but I've been getting messaged by people all day long wanting to fight me in labs with this one. And it looks sweet from what I've seen. I didn't get any of I played TFT, the one season pass they did. I forgot which one it was. I think it was the first Galaxy's pass.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool because you have like these things you're working towards and it's more stuff to play towards. Like for people that if you do play the game a lot, you're the ones that you're probably catering to because the pass you have to take coins for, right? But you get a bunch of cool stuff. Like you get a bunch of guardians and tokens and card backs and the cute kit guardian, which is really damn cute.
I think you get the kit guardian for free no matter what. Like
but you get the festival one, right? Or like the decked out one at the end.
Yeah. You get the decked out one. And they made the best guardian skin ever, the fucking Gromp Spirit Blossom best skin.
They made a bunch of ones, didn't they? Because
Shark,
they did the
Shark,
Silverwing Guardian has one,
and Silverwing Guardian,
2 of them, I guess.
Yeah,
and good emotes, and there's some good emotes.
Yeah,
it's exciting because I like cosmetics.
I love
more
cosmetics.
Than I should. I mean, they could have made this thing like $50, and I'm gonna probably buy it, which they did.
I was thinking like if they made like a really like in-depth one and did like a $50 or $100 one, like I would 100% be in because I'm a degenerate. But like I think like honestly reasonably priced. Like and also if you don't want to buy the premium pass, you get stuff for free. Like I was looking at it today, and it's like you get like at least a champion, you get the original guardian. I think you get I don't remember if you get a card, you get an emote. I don't remember if you get a card back or not.
You get a couple of emotes.
Yeah, you get a couple of emotes. You get like 3,000 shards, a random champion. Yeah, I think one card back and like some emotes and a what are they called? I can't even think of what they're called. Those things
Icon?
that we don't icon. Yeah, man, my brain is gone. My brain
Yeah,
is
it's okay
mush
though.
mush. I just see the pink festival skins and I get happy. So, overall, like super great. Like, and I'm not even like I'm not gonna lie. I don't really care about the whole like anime type aesthetic. Like I thought that the video was cool, but like I'm in on this. Like, this is really cool. It looks amazing. Oh, and by the way, the number one thing for me, you can click on stuff on the map. We
Yeah, it's the
finally
most
Hearthstone
advanced
now.
board.
We finally Hearthstone now.
And we were predicting this the very first thing of boards, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about there will be like an advanced board where you can click on shit.
Yeah.
And you and I, we're never wrong unless it's about Basilisk Rider.
That is true. That is true. One this also, speaking of the board and it being epic rarity where the other ones are rare rarity. This did so my thought was not necessarily because I think a lot of people thought that, oh, well, there's rare boards, therefore there will be epic boards or legendary boards. I thought that as a possibility, and it turned out that that's true, but I also thought that maybe it's like, well, all boards are rare, and sometime there will be something else that is not a board, but that will be a legendary cosmetic. Not necessarily like there are rare, epic, and legendary for everything. It's like boards are rare, guardians are common, and so it did confirm that there are different levels there. So I mean, I want to know what a legendary board is, but this epic board is absolutely epic. It looks amazing. It's super colorful. You can click on the board. I'm super happy about it.
Yeah. And like the Fox Guardian or whatever they call it, the Kitsune one.
Yeah.
Is damn cute.
Yeah.
And Pink Shark.
Pink Shark is good.
Pink Shark is strong.
Pink Shark and I think purple Gromp, I think.
Yeah.
Pink or purple Gromp. Really good.
They gave Silverwing the like samurai hat.
Yeah. Yeah. So overall I think they knocked it out of the park with the Spirit Blossom event. And I'm really happy with the pass and the board and everything. And the patch also is good. Like, it's like just this is one of the best, I think, just patches in general that Runeterra has put out yet. So I'm very, very happy.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I think a lot of changes were needed. A lot of good stuff happened. And Callista got a buff with this hunting flip dagger.
True. That's what Saucy was looking for. The like third way removed minor buff to Callista is exactly what Saucy was.
One day she'll be. Do you remember when I had 17 Callista decks when you came into my chat that one time?
I sure do.
I'm like, I've got a problem. But it's fine. I admit it.
It's like, oh my God, what is going on?
Yeah.
So good. But, Saucy, that is the end of the patch here for 1.6 for LoR. We got to get out of here and actually play this stuff. So, Saucy, where can people find you on the internet when you're not here on the show?
Yes. You can find me, saucymailman.com is my website. I also stream on Twitch and make a lot of YouTube videos. Just look for Saucy Mailman. I do it. That's me.
Yes. You can find both Saucy and myself at discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. I know a lot of folks in chat already are there. A lot of folks that are listening are already there. But if you're not, do yourself a favor. Join the Discord. It's an amazing community. You're going to know when Saucy and I are doing anything in Runeterra, as well as a lot of the other community folks. We have a self promo and different media and different media and community stuff that's going on. So you're definitely going to want to be there. Again, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. You can also find me on the internet on Twitter, twitter.com/the_Blevins, or on Twitch, twitch.tv/theblevins. That's the best place to find me. But that is going to be it for this episode of Runeterrable Radio. We'll be back next week we'll see how far along Saucy and I have gotten in our passes, and if we've already completed them because we didn't stop playing since right now. So
Mine's already complete.
Yeah. Rip. My EU account is also already complete. So until then, we'll see you all next week when we'll talk all about some more Legends of Runeterra.